Hi, I'm Jake Deffinbaugh, and welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, a podcast where me and my friends talk about nostalgic moments and pop culture from our childhoods. We interview people such as actors, producers, composers, puppeteers, and more. We'll be sharing our favorite memories, talk about behind-the-scenes moments, and so much more. I'm your host, Jake Deffinbaugh, and welcome to this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
What is going on, you guys, and welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. I am actually the host for this episode. There you go. We have Jake. We have our co-host Jake Deffinbaugh, Matt Bingel, Marty Monster, and Chris Bixby. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Doing good.
Great.
That's better than the Nick Ballband, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, today's guest is big, in my opinion. He's done so much stuff. He even guest starred on Fetch for Ruffman, which is amazing. You know him as so many others, like Horton from Dr. Wubbulous World, DJ One, which I'm obsessed with, the Animal Jam, and so many other roles. But we personally know him as Mel from Jack's Big Music Show. Here he is.
So many other characters.
How are you?
Some other shows.
Hey, hi everybody.
Hey.
Yes,
Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome.
Yes,
Oh,
you're
yes.
welcome. You're very
We have so
welcome.
many
here.
So why don't you start off with the first question?
Well, we know who we are. Well, we know who you are. But for people who don't know, who are you? Tell us a little about yourself.
Who am I? Well, I'm my name's John Kennedy. I'm a puppeteer from Plainfield, Indiana. That's how I started when I was, 3 years old. I wanted to make puppets, and I asked my mom if she'd make me one, and she said she didn't know how. So
there you go.
I went on. I'm still on the mission of learning how. But along the way, I did learn some tricks how to make puppets, and they're in my two books, Puppet Mania and Puppet Planet.
Oh wow!
But they helped me finally meet Jim Henson, which was my goal. I loved Sesame Street. I loved any Muppet special that was on when I was a kid, and so that was my dream. And I sort of took my time through high school to learn what I thought would help me be a better puppeteer. So I ended up being a Muppet performer.
There you go.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And you got on some amazing shows.
Well, thanks. Yeah. Once it was kind of a crazy ride. Once I got on, it just kept coming. All these great specials and live things and TV shows. And I've been at Sesame Street since 1994.
Wow.
And but I worked
almost 3 years.
My first big job. My first big job was working on Dinosaurs out in LA.
Yes.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Kevin Clash.
That's right. I met Kevin Clash in the late 80s. And he encouraged me to keep trying. Because, once you do your first workshop, you're like, oh, that's what you have to do. Even though I'd been doing live shows and I had an agent and doing birthday parties and stuff all through high school, and even in elementary school, I had a business with my best friend, Ed. We had a puppet stage, and we would do birthday parties and special events and library shows. So it's like had all this stuff, and I just thought, well, I'll just go to Muppets and it'll be a breeze. I'll get in. But there's so much to learning the monitor technique and how to work in front of a monitor, because it's backwards. You turn this way, it's like that.
Right.
When you're looking at it, forward and back is the same, but it's like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
And Matt's been doing it for 2 years now.
Almost 2 years.
Great.
You mentioned the Muppet. I gotta bring this up.
there?
You performed in a childhood video of mine. Oh, Matt, keep going.
I think it was John. I think it was John who was saying.
Oh, I just wanted to introduce Marty. I guess everybody knows Marty there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Matt does live streams on Instagram a lot with Marty and another puppet of his, Julius.
Where is he?
He's starstruck from yesterday. He's fine.
I thought we were having a day off. Well, we changed our mind, Julius. Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
I'm making.
While he does that, I'll keep
going. We have a lot of other puppetry friends too. So I think once this interview goes up, they'll definitely be happy to see that we got you on.
Where are you, Julius?
I gotta bring this up. You were actually on one of my friends' podcasts, Samuel Warwick, who was amazing.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
So,
anyway, awesome. Can I go back to what I was saying? Because I want to bring it up. I actually grew up with a video that you were actually on, which is Muppet Sing-Along Song. It's Not Easy Being Green. I'm kind of curious, who did you perform on that? Because you were an additional puppeteer on that. Who did you perform in that?
Muppet Sing-Alongs.
Yeah, It's Not Easy Being Green.
Well, there's Kokomo music video on there.
Yes.
That's
the one.
I did several puppets in that video. We shot it in LA. The first time you see me in there is when you see the bunny playing the steel drums.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Cool. There's sort of a weasel character with a hat down over his eyes.
Yeah.
And they grab a shot like from the side. He's kind of not looking at camera, and they were just grabbing shots throughout, getting things that we weren't seeing on the monitor, which is usually we don't like. We like to see what we're doing on the monitor, but they had grabbed a few shots, and they're just looking off to the side, and we're doing some kind of right left or something. So that Weasel character is me.
That's awesome.
I forget what I mean. I remember being down underneath the beach with legs, or I think we were doing something with legs sticking out, or
it had the head in the sand and stuff.
I think Bill Beretta was doing the legs that were twisting like this.
Oh wow!
Oh yes,
Bill's awesome. He was doing that.
Awesome.
I did just all kinds of little things that if I watched it, I could say, I think that's me, because at some point the parrots all do a domino effect, and I'm one of those parrots. I don't know which one. It was just all day long, just coming up with gags and bits, and I think they'd worked out what they wanted to do basically, and then I forget, I might have been Brian Henson that directed that one.
Oh wow!
I'm not sure what other songs are on that sing along.
Yeah,
remember?
I don't remember. Hold on, the Muppet Wiki. I had the Muppet Wiki pulled up here. Hold on.
Yeah, I can't remember what else. I just remembered that was on there.
Yeah. So since you mentioned meeting Jim Henson, what was it like getting to meet him and work with him?
Well, it was bigger than life, Well, first of all, I was at Disney World meeting him at the Disney MGM Studios because I'd just gotten a job there.
Wow.
Ow.
What's that? Oh, I guess.
No, we were just,
I got the number for you. 13.
For those who don't know,
13, okay.
Disney MGM was the former name of Disney Hollywood Studios for this.
Right.
Now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. And that was my first morning of meeting Jim Henson. We were out at New York Street.
Yeah.
And the sun was coming up over the buildings, the fake buildings down the street. So when I first met him and shook his hand, he was like silhouetted. So the sun was behind him, and he's really, really tall guy, and he's really big hands. I shook his hands and shook his hand, and his hand was so big that it was like engulfed my hand. And I was like, wow.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
So, and then Jerry Nelson was next to him, so I met him.
Yeah.
And I think Jim said, you'd be perfect for this first scene, because I didn't know what I was going to do. I'm just like my first day and whatever they need me for. So they put me inside of an ice cream cart that's on the front of a bicycle. So it's like really small. And at that time I'd been a dancer, and that's how I got into Disney World, because I had a dancing audition. Got in to the character department, and so they said, you get inside that ice cream cart, and they'd just taken all the ice out, all the dry ice, so it was freezing inside. And because I was thinner, I could get in this tiny box, and so my knees were just up against my chest. I had to lower myself in and turn my shoulders and head sideways just to get in it. And inside, in order to lower myself in, that little ledge had all this raw sheet metal inside, and it cut all my fingertips going in.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
So I had to have Band-Aids on all my fingers. But it was worth it because I got to do Dr. Teeth.
Yeah,
Dr. Teeth's awesome.
Yeah, you
love Dr. Teeth.
It was a commercial for the show that I was in, the Here Come the Muppet show.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I never.
That's awesome.
So it was really cool to be there doing that commercial for the show that I was in, and then getting to do Dr. Teeth, and Jim just said, "Hey, just keep his mouth open and make him kind of laugh, And I noticed inside there's a little lever that makes his eyeglasses go up, because obviously I tried to make that when I was a kid. I tried to make Dr. Teeth when I was little, and I just had no idea how that. I figured it was going to be something highly mechanical, and all it was just inside the glasses come in and make a turn and come back through the head, and then there's just a little leather loop. You push on that through the leather loop. But my hands again are so much smaller than Jim Henson's hands, so I couldn't even really reach that pinky thing. I got my hand in there, and I'm like, yeah. And I realized how heavy he was. He had all this, ornaments all over his body, and the fringe and the hat and the teeth were like hard plastic, so they were heavy. And I'm just like, wow, this thing is a monster.
He's awesome.
And
no pun intended.
Cover over, I'm kind of inside of this thing, sideways, and just making him laugh, like he said, as the bicycle cart goes through, and hits a fire hydrant, and then sprays all these dancers with water.
Oh,
wow!
And they did it over and over and over. So I just kept getting, knocked into a pole basically each time we went through. And it was freezing when I went in because they just taken out the dry ice. But by the time the 2 hours had gone by that I was in this box, just the size of me, it was steaming hot because the sun had come up, and so I was trying to get out of there at the end when we were finished, and I peeked my head out and I saw the van with all the puppeteers going away. I was like, wait for me. So I had to go find them. They're like, where did they go? I'll wander around the park on my own trying to find where they were shooting.
So since you mentioned people like Jim, of course, and Jerry Nelson, would you say those guys are kind of like your inspirations, like getting into puppetry?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I used to listen to all the albums, like the Muppet Musicians of Bremen, and I just loved the characters that Jerry Nelson did. And you could always tell when it was Jim, or you could always tell when it was, it was Richard Hunt, you could tell their voice.
Yeah.
I was always like, that's Richard, and that's Jerry. Yeah. That's Dave Goles, that's probably, so that was always something to do, was try to figure out who was doing what in any scene.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned park. This is going to be a leeway. I know Jake, he has some questions about a certain show you did at a park, which is Animal Jam, because that was filmed at a theme park, if I'm right.
Yes.
Yeah, Jake, he has some questions about Animal Jam. I know that. And there's one about the theme song. And me and Jakey are wondering. Jakey, go ahead and take it over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Wyatt. So,
you're welcome.
Okay, so there's a part of the theme where the part of the theme was like Animal Jam. Do you know who's people who did the parts for that? Because the people who did that, did an amazing job doing that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't know who else sang it. I sang on it as that lead vocal, but I don't know who else sang on it. And I don't even remember who was recording me. It's been a long time.
That's okay.
It's cool to think that the puppet's still around though, because I've seen it on somebody's Instagram.
Yeah, they have used those puppets, I believe, in Puppet Up.
Yeah.
Nice.
There was a whole period of time at around 2000 at the Jim Henson Company that they were working on shows for the Hallmark Channel.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yes.
a show called Telling Stories of Tommy DePaola.
Oh, yeah.
And Animal Jam was around that same time. So there were a bunch of different puppets that were made that were kind of, they weren't really to any one show because not everybody saw those shows. So they're not really relatable, you know, like Gabe the Squirrel is somebody I performed on the Tommy DePaola show. And and since then they've done all kinds of things with them at Henson. So, and for me, I kind of felt like that was my very first Muppet of my own, because up to that point, I had been doing, you know, Jim Henson's characters.
Yeah.
You know, I did some Rolf the Dog. I did some Dr. T. But, you know, I was filling in. And Fozzie Bear when Frank couldn't be there for the
Mother's Space.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Space. So, you know, I mimicking at one point, it was said that I was like in the group, like the best Muppet mimic, you know, because I practiced my whole life trying to do all those voices just in case one day I got to do one. But you know, I got to do a lot of them, so you know, really was.
So on top of the Animal Jam, if they came back, would you?
Know?
Sorry. On top of the Animal Jam, if they came back, would you return to do it?
Oh, I'd love to.
I'd love to see a reboot of it.
Crazy show.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
That's Ricky Boyd, I know he said he'd down for doing it. It'd be cool to have Leslie back.
He said he'd what? Ricky
I think he said he'd be down for it.
Oh yeah,
have all you guys back together again. David Maida, Bozark.
Yes, David.
Yeah.
Yes. I know you kind of did already just to Samuel's on podcast, but can you
I know what this is.
Everybody duck.
He's wondering if he could still do DJ One's voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's Bose.
There you go.
There you go.
My voice kind of as low as I could go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. All you had to do is just do the low voice, and that's it. There you go.
That's
a character.
Kind of my voice.
Don't worry, there's another.
I just wanted it to sound kind of low and generic. I didn't want it to sound like, you know, it
trying
to other background, you know. Than he's an announcer, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I'd love to see the show come back. Come on, people behind me, bring it back.
It was so hard to shoot because we were doing basically two shows a day. The same show, we did it twice. That's what I should say. The same show. Wow. We ran the same show twice every day, but we did all the ins and outs, the little, you know, Waffle and Edie there, you know, talking at their screen. We did that first before the kids came in, but it was like I don't know if you've done it before. I mean, you probably have, Matt probably has, with, you know, putting on the puppet and then just dancing for like an hour.
Yep.
He's done that before.
Yep.
That alone can wear you out. You know? And so by the end of each day, we were just like, I bet. We had done all those songs twice, rehearsed, and then done all those, you know, little wraparound parts in the morning. And then you had to get up and do it all over again.
Yeah.
Like part of your arm is gonna be like so dead they don't want to be on anymore.
Jakey, you have no idea what it's like yet, man. You have no clue. I have no idea yet.
I bet it was crazy because David Maida was probably sweating in Bozark, which we plan to have David Maida on in the future.
Yeah.
Because he could only do the dance once.
Wow.
It was so strenuous and hot and and I think he might have passed out once, but you have to ask him.
Ooh.
We got to find him. Maybe help us. Okay.
So it was really tough for him, and it put a lot of pressure on me to only do that DJ one. You know, DJing behind what he was dancing to. Well, I could only do it once. Because they recorded me with him. You know. So I didn't get a second shot at it.
It's fine.
So I had to, in between all of the other stuff we were shooting, I would have to take the script and in between all of the lines for the song, or the lines that I would say, I would put, I say this, and then there's this that happens. It's like I had to like make little notations, so I knew when to say it in the music.
Yeah,
and a lot of times it was on the beat, like wait 4 measures, then say this. I wasn't really able to watch his performance. I'm watching me in my monitor, and all I can see is just the close-up of DJ1. I didn't see him dancing, so I couldn't follow anything else but just the track. So I would be playing back in my ear that music all morning until it came time to do that dance, and I just had to have it down, and no one else instructed me. It was just the dance choreographer that told me what it had to be. He recorded his voice, and I would listen to his voice and make notations, and then try to do it just like he did it.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yes.
If Bozark did something different than he was supposed to, I'd be in trouble because I would have no idea what he was doing.
He's crazy.
So he was great, and I was able to lock it in, and we were able to just crank him out each day.
What a performer David is.
Then he later went on to do an Alien, which some of us know, which is Dooley on Dooley and Pals.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
he did so much dance for that show too.
I have to say though, David did a great job. I auditioned to do Bozark, like to be in the costume.
Oh wow!
Because I'd done costume characters before. They said, okay, well, it's not really going to work because we have other ideas of what you would be doing at that time. But if you really want to do it, you really want to try. So I came in to do the audition, and those dance routines are so difficult. And by the end of it, I had just collapsed. I was so exhausted. And at that point, I realized maybe I should let someone else do this. I just gave up because I was really trying.
Hey, Dave, go for it.
Let me do it. And now that was also with Jack's big music show. We were
amazing show.
There's the Schwartzman Quartet. I was a singer, and I took voice lessons and stuff, and I wanted to sing in that quartet, but it just wouldn't work. They said, well, maybe we can get you to do it or whatever. But I really wanted to be sing in the quartet, but they brought in a quartet that was already established, and that was important because then they could just come in and crank out the songs, and I'm not like trying to learn a part. They're off on their own while we're shooting, and they've got it, and they come in and record it. So that
which I want to bring this up since we're on topic of Jack's Community Show. There's been something that I've been dying to know, and it's been for a while now. There was this episode, Mel's Bath Day. Was it a different puppet for when he gets dirty, or how did that work? Because he gets dirty in that episode.
The
one where he digs through the trombones and the
Sudsy Bubblestein.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
was that a different puppet?
Yeah.
Where he's dirty?
We had 2 puppets.
I thought so.
We did from the beginning, I believe.
Yeah.
And one was just a little fluffier than the other and just looked a little different. So I, tended to use, I pretty much used the same puppet the whole time.
Yeah.
Except when they needed to do some special thing. I mean,
like the dirt.
Yeah. So we did dirty him up, and there was, I think they might have sewed in little pieces of dirtiness, instead of just actually really, smudging them with dirt. They took pieces that were just off color, a little dirtier, and then just slightly sewed them on just for that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm kind of wondering if it has only one puppet that had to do something. I'm kind of wondering if they're gonna have put dirt on him.
Right.
Well, it's a good suggestion having another puppet, just in case wherever the episode's doing.
Yeah.
It's good if you can if you have the budget, to have that. You're lucky, because otherwise you have to think of other creative ways to get around that. You got to have, a lot of times with if you want the puppet to get hit in the face with a banana cream pie, it's not banana cream. It's actually soap suds that they're using.
Wow.
So I think they froth up some woolite.
Yeah.
And that's what they put. So it's really, instead of getting the puppet dirty, you're really cleaning it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But it just looks dirty.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely tell there's two Mels, like in the one where he turns into a bunny also.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, we have that for just that occasion.
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to ask about was one of my favorite Sesame Street things that you've done was a special Elmo Palooza.
Yeah.
Who did you perform in that?
Oh gosh, that's I think I was only assisting people through that. There might have been a scene. I remember at the end we're all on stage, and I can't remember who I was. Cookie. It was going to be a Cookie Monster thing. I was going to get to do Cookie, but I think John Tartaglia did it.
Oh wow!
Nice.
John's awesome.
But I don't know if I did Grover or if it was Oscar. A lot of times I'd get to do Oscar and get in the can. Like there was this one special we did, like the 40th anniversary special. It wasn't a TV special. It was the Tonys, I think, or no, the daytime Emmys.
Oh, wow.
But it was from a big theater. The what's it called? Where the Rockettes are, the music theater.
Yeah, I don't know.
Music City. No, I can't think of it. But anyway, they screwed me into the can, so I couldn't get out, basically.
Wow.
And I came up from the bottom basement. Radio City Music Hall. That's
that's right.
In Radio City Music Hall, there's these levels in the theater below stage. So the stage is like the third level up, and then there's another level and another level down and another level down. When you're like, it's a giant elevator ride basically. And so I came down 2 levels, I think, and got inside, and some union guy zipped me into the can with the Makita, and then and then they raised up to the next level, and then all the other performers got on that could just step on. And then right after the commercial, because I think it's like we were doing it live,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was awesome to be there and to see, and the timing of it, and in the 40 years of Sesame Street, and everybody comes up onto the stage, and then it emerges, from below, and you see the whole cast of Sesame Street, on there. That was a really fun
awesome.
moment.
I know you're a part of the 50th anniversary too, which is for the Amazing Mumford.
Yeah, you did Mumford.
Yeah.
That I really wanted to be there for the whole thing, and be a part of it. But we were also we were shooting another show at the time, so I could only be there for one day.
Yeah.
We were shooting Helpsters, so.
Which we talked to Stephanie DeBruzzo about when we interviewed her. Yeah, we talked to her about that.
Yeah,
and I'm glad you at least be a part of that anniversary anyway.
Yeah,
I know. I see the photos of what everybody was doing, and I was so jealous because it was really fun. And the director's a friend of mine, so it was great to be there with Jack Jameson. So it was amazing.
Yeah.
But, I was only one day. For me.
I said it in the intro in the beginning. Matt, I believe you have a question about a certain show he worked on that you binge watched recently.
There's a show I absolutely love. It's the Wubbulous World of Dr. Seuss.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I love watching it. I especially really love Horton.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
That was a cool audition process. We had to do this week-long improv workshop, and at the time Camille Bonora taught it to us, and she was on some of the episodes as well. And she's really funny, and we got to do some fun things. And then the puppets came in after that week, and then we just kind of tried them on, And I hadn't really thought about what I was going to do for Horton, but part of it I believe was, well, they said it was kind of like magic what I did, in that audition, and that kind of solidified it. But I don't think anybody else wanted to perform that big elephant, so I don't know if that was part of it too, because he was so heavy, and you had a choice. You could perform him with your head inside, like this, and then the body would come down, or you could have your head out, and you could. And I decided to have my head out, and so now to this day, I still have back pain from doing that.
Oh, wow.
I had odd shoes that were like 4 or 5 inches tall, and then have my neck completely out of the shot and my full arm in, and then holding that
that'd
weight.
Be uncomfortable doing
that. My back just took the real beating over those 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I told you it was heavy. You didn't believe me.
Right. And then, of course, he's the biggest puppet, so he would get the biggest prop. So
I
would get a tuba out of an elephant with a tuba walking around with, or a drum or something. Like, oh, come on, give me the bell. I'll take the bell.
That's awesome.
So, any like specific fun memories from working with the Muppets? Because I know, like we mentioned earlier, you puppeteered Fozzie for a majority of Muppets from Space.
Right.
Yeah, which Chris recently watched.
Well, special moments from that. Even the first day, I didn't know I was going to be doing Fozzie.
Yeah.
And it was a surprise.
There you go. That's fine.
We're shooting we're out in the scene where Fozzie gets the invisibility spray.
I love that scene. Yes.
And up to that point, right before we were shooting it, I didn't know I was doing it. It was just kind of sprung on me. Oh, you're doing Fozzie for this scene. And then after we did it, they're like, well, I think you could probably we'll stick with you doing Fozzie. So it was a cool moment that I pulled it off and I did it, but it certainly wasn't something that I prepared for weeks to do,
Right. Yeah.
Like, here, do this now, and then I guess, trial by fire. That's how just about everything works around Muppets, as far as, what I remember.
Yeah. No, Muppets from Space is great. I watched like all the theatrical Muppet movies recently. They're all wonderful. Yeah, they're all great.
Yeah, I loved watching when the Muppet movie came out. That was it for me. I'm like, that's my favorite movie. I recorded the there was a Muppet special. The Muppet movie, Muppets Go Hollywood, and
I've heard of that. Yeah,
or it was the Hollywood release of it anyway. And Dick Van Dyke is like the host for the show, and so I took my little record. It didn't have VCRs, or we couldn't afford one anyway back then. I'm not sure they had them back then for the majority.
Probably not.
So they were so expensive anyway, if they did have them. And I just recorded it with my little tape cassette recorder. So and I was listening to that all the time, to the whole special about the Muppet movie, and I was so excited that it's coming out. And my parents took me to I think it was called LS Airs. It was kind of like a Macy's store in Indianapolis. And they had a special premiere on a VHS, like a videotape of the movie, just of the Muppet movie. Just it was just clips from the movie, extended more than anything.
Oh wow!
Else, It was just like a teaser, and I was the only one that showed up.
Wow!
And they didn't even know they were doing it. It was just crazy. Like they pulled out like an AV cart with VCR and the TV, and they, I guess we do have this tape, and so they played it for me. like in the kids' clothing section or something.
Yeah,
in the store.
That's awesome.
No, but that's crazy that they wrote it out and it was in the kids' section for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right.
So I forgot to ask those questions, but to the people to people who's big fans of those two shows, Jack's Big Music Show and Wubbulous World of Dr. Seuss, I'm kind of wondering about this. Can you still do voice of Horton and Mel?
Yeah.
Sure I can.
Oh wow.
I can do all the voices, I believe. I remember some of the songs too.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Well, maybe I don't remember them. I should remember them. An elephant always remembers, right?
Oh my gosh.
What about Mel?
It's been too long. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay.
I think that's what I sounded like. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
That sounds good.
That's amazing.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And Mr. Knox.
Oh wow.
That's
Oh yes.
It waits for us, my friend. Adventure awaits around the very next bend.
that's awesome.
What about Mel?
Yes.
Oh, Mel. Let me see if I can think of a phrase Mel would say. Roof.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
Congratulations, you won a prize.
Yeah, but Jack's Big Music Show is awesome. I hope it ends up on Paramount.
Yeah,
I was
Plus.
also the singing duo of Squirrel and Bologna Sandwich.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
Yes.
that's
I
right.
did both voices and I did both puppets at the same time.
Wow.
I had
Wow.
I had a squirrel on this hand and a bologna sandwich on this one. So when you see this, so when I'm singing like this and bologna, oh, I forget what the voices were, but I think it was woo. It was like doing a little doo-wop underneath, but I was doing both at the same time.
That is awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah. Jakey, I think you have a question about a certain Sprout show that started off as
Yes.
shorts and then turned into
Yes. So there's a Sprout show that I grew up and I know you did a little bit before the series even happened, which is called Pajanimals, which I know you did Apollo for only for shorts because Michael Windsor who did him for the series. Can you well, okay. Do you remember doing that show?
I do. It was a series of music videos.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yes,
that's right. One of the things I remember is La La Lullaby. That's basically how I know Pajamas and how I know.
Oh yeah.
Which I remember so much after the Goodnight Show.
I'll tell you how we recorded those songs, all of them.
Yeah.
They sent me the music the day before, like the night before my morning flight to go record them.
Wow.
So, all the songs, like 15 songs, were sent to me the night before, and I had the flight to get to LA, which was 5 hours, to listen to them for the first time, and then go directly to the recording studio and record them all.
Wow. Yeah.
So for me, it's all a jumbled mess of music in my head. I mean, we did then we did all 15 music videos in 3 days.
Just
so
wow, that is crazy.
The next one we won't do anything. We won't do any like movement. We'll just be in the bed and we'll just do zoom in with the camera and that one's done. Okay, let's do another one. So just as fast as we could
go straight on to it.
Yeah. As fast as you could sing it in the studio.
Yeah.
As fast as you could record it in the on the floor and doing the puppets.
Mm-hmm.
And I unofficially got to direct one of them. But the one where the bed moves all around and
wow.
Another one that I remember is called Morning Time.
Morning Time. That's
that one.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So Matt or Marty, how about one of you ask the next?
Marty, how about you do it?
Okay,
question.
no pressure. No pressure. So you you did Kermit the Frog at the Disney Cruise Line years ago.
Yes.
How in the world did that come about, and how in the world did you survive? That's
survive.
How did that come about? How did you survive?
You were on a cruise line. This isn't like a studio. This is on a ship. You're going on sea.
Well, it's an amazing story of once I got there. It was really fun. But to get there, I auditioned. They had they wanted me to do different parts on there, and I said, well, could I do Kermit? And they were like, oh, you want to do that? Well, okay, let's set up an audition. So I did an audition, and they liked it, and then
there you go, you got it.
And then we had like a week after that. And I did the one show, and then they had like a training session at Disney with other puppeteers, and I got to continue to do Kermit, and then I got to do it again on a couple other cruises.
Wow,
so kind of was
awesome.
in there. I had actually done Kermit before in different at different times, like that you wouldn't know. Like I never got credit for it, but
right.
I was asked to do it to do Kermit for a 50th anniversary of Disney animation, I believe.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
With I think Steve Martin, and it was something that they played in the theme parks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did it, but then they didn't end up using my voice on it. Someone else had
right.
done the voice afterwards, and I figured it was Steve, but I don't think it was. I think someone else did it.
Oh wow!
So it didn't end up being my voice, but I got to perform it, and then a few other things. You're in the scene, you're in a shot, and it just has to be done. Someone has to do it, and I'm usually that guy that would be pulled in. They call me a utility puppeteer because I can do just about anything or mimic anybody and just get through the scene or lip sync to someone else doing the voice. If someone's doing the, one character in a scene and they also do the character or the voice of another character in the same scene. In the Muppet Show, you'd see that happen a lot with Jim Henson. He'd have Kermit at the desk, and then, Rolf the dog would come through and say a couple things. I wasn't there, but what probably happened was Jim's, looking down with Kermit, and Rolf comes through, and he says one line. Well, Jim probably did that line live while he's got Kermit on, and someone else has got the puppet going through the scene and lip syncing to what he's going to say. They work out what he's going to say and what the timing is, and then they play the scene, and it's seamless, and you don't think about, well, he's doing the voice live. And that's the trick of being able to do a voice, while you're acting as some other character.
Yeah.
That's hard to do. But,
it's crazy.
Eric Jacobson
wow.
Eric Jacobson is really good at that.
We need to get him on.
In the beginning of the Mormon Tabernacle Choir special with Sesame Street, I think Eric is doing Grover, but Bert is in it with Ernie. And so I'm lip syncing to Bert, to him doing Bert's voice live.
Wow.
And it's in front of a live audience too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, oh, I missed it. Let's try it one more time. It was like one shot, and it's being
pretty much.
And it's there on tape forever, so don't screw it up.
I get.
It's crazy that for you doing stuff with the cruise. I actually went on a Disney cruise back in 2017. So because where you actually actually doing stuff, doing voices of puppeteer, whatever for cruise line, that's kind of
the
cool deal to do.
Fun because after I had done the show, the next morning I think we were in St. Kitts. We came in and a rainbow came over the island and went right through the window in my cabin.
Wow.
I'd never seen
that. Is so awesome.
And it came down to the water's edge right at the bottom of my cabin. And it looked like the water was kind of fizzy. It was really weird. I'd never seen it.
Wow.
I can imagine it looks beautiful.
Night,
Yeah.
So it was amazing.
And you performed Kermit, it was just meant to be.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
I don't know. It was certainly I had made my own Kermit, when I was a kid, a really bad looking one, but I would do that Rainbow Connection. I did it hundreds of times at parties and, with my little Kermit, and we'd say any resemblance to Kermit the Frog is purely intentional, or we would change it to unintentional. I mean, it was just, I just had to do that song because I loved it so much.
Yeah.
I guess you mentioned live audience. This makes sense. What was it like doing the Muppets Take the Bowl in 2002?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
The Hollywood Bowl. Well, it was really special because the audience just was craving it. We had done a similar thing in 2000 for Muppet Fest in LA.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For a whole
I didn't know
theater
about
and
that.
made it the Muppet Show Theater. So we kind of did it then, and so this was kind of doing it again, but it was all rewritten, all different kind of a thing, but all I can say is, we worked really hard. It was just like any Muppet thing, it's like, is it gonna work? Is it gonna work?
Yeah.
Until the very last second, the video wasn't in sync or something. We weren't right. There were different things that didn't work out.
Yeah, you just gotta do it if there's issues happening.
Exactly.
I just wanted the whole thing to be over because I had one of the hardest jobs. Dave Goles does Gonzo, and he's real particular about how things work and underneath the stage, just how everything's choreographed and stuff. He's a real perfectionist, and he wanted me to hold his monitor for him and scroll through his lines on an iPad. Well, that sounds pretty easy, but if you touch the iPad wrong, it jumps, like 2 pages ahead or whatever.
Right.
And so I thought, okay, that's still not that hard. But then they gave me a monitor which weighed about 10 pounds, and then they put a couple batteries on it, and then they put it on a big heavy piece of wood. And so by the end of it, I'm barely holding this rig up that we had worked on.
Wow.
And so I'm shaking and I'm trying to scroll on the iPad, just terrified that I would screw him up because he's reading, he's reading his lines. And if I did it wrong, he would be like, John, he would be so mad at me.
That's awesome.
I was so nervous through the whole thing that I was going to screw that up.
Oh my gosh.
That's
crazy.
crazy.
I think it didn't happen like that.
Over.
Rainbow Connection from those shows is just it's just very special. I know Jim will be super proud.
Exactly.
Oh, for sure.
I got to do Fozzie again for that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Chris, I know you have questions about swamp ears in a certain Cinder story.
Oh yeah, swamp ears.
Oh yeah, Kermit Swamp Ears. Yeah,
Cinder Elmo.
Yeah, Cinder Elmo. We're well, I guess we'll ask you about Swamp Ears first. What was that like?
It was very hot.
Yeah.
we were in the Florida swamp. There were snakes and alligators.
Yeah,
and really all that stuff was really there, and we were kind of like, don't go near the water. There's alligators in there. And I remember nearly stepping on a snake at one point that slithered off right
now. Oh, wow.
When we were scouting the location, going, we'll shoot this here and we'll shoot that there. And it was like, oh my gosh, what was that? And it was like 100 degrees out there. It just sweat. I had to bring like 2 or 3 shirts each day because I would be so sweaty.
And to get lots of water for that too.
And lots of water too.
Lots of water.
But I was the puppet captain on that, which was really cool.
Wow.
The main Muppet guys were there, and it was a big deal for me to be a puppet captain on that. And that was another one we had, extra puppets for the water scene because I had to help design this tank that we would swim in too, because you had to have your arm up through the bottom of the water tank and kind of blend into the water behind, so it looked like it was all part of the same thing. I think they had done it on other Muppet specials as well.
Yeah.
Try to get the water to look like it blended with the background water, with like some swampy, ness or something in the back, and it was just it was fun. Those challenges were really fun to do, and plus some really good songs in it, and the whole scene inside the pet store was cool with all the animals. In fact, some of the frogs in that scene were from the Frog Prince from what, the 70s?
Oh, wow.
The one the eyes would blow up. One of the frogs was there from that. The eyes.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
I don't know if they're could still be around today. Probably not, because they were getting toasty, as they say, inside the puppets. The foam starts to rot.
Oh yeah,
Really, like crusty, crumbly bread. Toast from bread.
Yeah, I know.
It just falls apart after 20, 30 years or so.
Wow.
Yeah, and like Wyatt mentioned, you also did Cinderelmo, which is another cool Sesame Street special.
I don't remember doing a lot in that. It seemed like there was a lot of Elmo going on.
Yeah.
And if you watch the extras in that, we had a band in the Muppet Green Room. We all played music and sang all these songs because we just weren't needed for a lot of it, but we had to be there for like, I don't know if it was a week or 10 days. I forget how long the shoot was. I bet I didn't work, maybe 3 days out of it, by the end of it, if you added up when I was on stage actually doing something, it might have been 3 days or maybe even 2 days, but it was this long, lengthy special, and they just wanted us there, just in case change the schedule or whatever. So, I had a bass guitar and an amp, and everybody brought in their instruments and guitars, and we just played music all day long, it seemed. And in the extras on the DVD, you can see Telly comes into the green room and says, "Hey guys, what's going on? Here we are working in the the Muppet Green Room, and we're all playing, and I've got the bass guitar, and we're all That's what it was like working on that shoot."
Wow.
That's awesome though.
But I remember doing one character. It was like a green monster, and we were doing some kind of dancing with puppets, and I remember doing that and having to lay just flat on my back on the floor because a lot of the sets, they're not built up, these were, they might have been built up a little, but they wanted to get a wide shot with everybody in it, so sometimes you just have to lay flat on the floor on your back to get out of the shot. And I was a little heavier at that moment, and they were saying, "Can you suck in a little more?" So I break my belly out of the shot.
Oh boy! So we're talking about all these wonderful projects that you've done. This may be a difficult question, but do you have a favorite project that you've done?
Well, I think Jack's Big Music Show.
Yes,
mainly because it felt. I mean, I don't know this, but it felt to me like this might be what working on the Muppet Show was. Yeah. Because we'd have these musical guests, and we'd get to sing live sometimes. And
David Rubman and others.
Yeah, and also because I had a character that never said anything.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to learn any lines. I just had to know when to bark.
Mm-hmm.
It annoyed people, the other puppeteers, if I didn't bark at the right time, because they'd be like, "What are you doing?
Why aren't you barking?"
Yeah,
right.
Alice Deneen was also on that, if I'm right.
Yeah.
I know Laurie Berkner was actually a guest on that show too.
I have her on the feature.
We did a live show with Laurie Berkner too in New York.
Wow!
But I also got to go. I think I went to L.A. and we shot a couple of times. I was in the music video that would be in the middle.
Oh yeah,
I was with hot peas.
Yeah, you did. Hot peas and butter.
Yeah, hot peas and butter. Yeah.
Yes.
They were really cool guys. Yeah, it was fun.
I know. Ann Harris was also in that. She might get her on the future as Prudence the Music Genie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she was amazing. All the artists that came, you were just like, they're so good. We got along really well on the set, and we were able to just do stuff, you know. So we were able to. I felt like we were capturing magic in every scene, you know, because we all knew our characters and we all knew what we were doing, and the musical guests were so talented, and we could just jump in and be good with them, you know, and try to impress them that we're doing a great job. So it really was just. I love music, and I love, you know, the fact that, you know, Muppets are a lot of what the Muppets started with were, you know, musical things. So, you know, even the very beginning with Jim Henson, you know, lip syncing to records and, you know, that kind of stuff, you know, it's the music where it was Muppets were very big, were influenced a lot by the musical people that they would, even Dr. Teeth is Dr. John, you know, or at least based on him, you know. So the musical aspect of the Muppets I always loved, and so Jack's Big Music Show was just a perfect, even though Muppets, you know, it was you know, David Rudman and his company, and then another network altogether.
Yeah, they also did Bunnytown, which is crazy.
Yeah, they shot that in England. We did like a little pilot or a test of that before, and in fact, this never aired. The first thing we ever shot for Jack's Big Music Show, it was just a test, but those bunnies were in it.
Oh wow! I need to see this.
Music show became a thing. We did this whole magic act with Mel the dog and his you know, magician's hat, and bunnies would pop up.
I've seen it.
They must put it in something. It must.
Jack Bunny, I think, is what it is, because Jack turns into a bunny in it.
Yeah, we repeated the bit, I think, for another show, but that was in the test. You know, that was like,
wow, that's crazy.
No, you did. I would love to see the pilot of it. Dave Roman really
didn't do it because Dan Zanes was in it. And
we actually got Dan Zanes in our podcast, which is very awesome.
We need to see this. David Rubin, if you're watching, please release it. I'm dying to see it.
I don't think he can, because Dan Zanes then signed with Disney, and so he couldn't be on another network. I think that's what I heard. I don't know if that's true.
Just put it out on YouTube.
Yeah, that was fun. Well, that we talked Dan a little bit ago, which is really fun.
Dan was amazing.
He's a really cool guy.
He is.
You heard Dan Zanes when you came out, right? Yep.
Who else was on the show was Buddy Guy.
Yeah.
Buddy Guy was on He was the coolest thing because he showed up with an entourage.
Oh wow.
And I don't know if he knew what the show was, you know, but it was just he had so much fun and we had fun. The only thing that really ruined it for me was that I had food poisoning that day.
Oh dear.
So I had at the hotel that we were staying at, they had like free dinner if you show up, and I got there late, so I got like the last little bits of Chinese food that they were offering, and I guess it had gone bad by that time, and I didn't know it. So the next day I woke up and I was so sick.
Yeah.
So we're like singing ram-a-lam-a-dam, ram-a-lam-lam-lam, or whatever, and I'm just playing drums, and I'm like, I've got to run to the bathroom now. I've got to. If you have to, just go. So we're and then just go. And I just had to throw the puppet off and run to the bathroom.
That's awesome. That's funny.
That's something.
Yeah. I would put this up because I don't think people know that, but you guys actually, there was a music video. It was the singing voice of Uniqua from season 1 of Backyardigans. It was Bongo Bird.
Oh, Backyardigans, such a music video as well.
Oh, really?
You guys have the singing voice of her.
Huh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's in the episode Bongo Bird.
Yeah, Bongo Bird. Yeah, that's
puppeteering.
Frankie Cordero played the bongo.
Nice.
You know what's funny? Hold on, I gotta bring this up. Jakey and I have connections to him. We'll get him on.
Yeah, he was there for a lot of the early stuff, and he's doing stuff now with
Yeah, he is.
With Rudy and
Yeah.
yes.
And Matt actually. Yeah, and Matt actually met with Frankie.
He was
Frankie
wonderful.
even complimented Matt's puppetry.
He did. Yeah.
He's really good. You know, at that time, the Bongo Bird, you know, he was still, you know, learning. You know, he was still a young puppeteer trying to get in. Yeah. And so, you know, he struggled the tiniest bit with that bird, but you know, he's really
made it work.
But then when you get used to it, you can solve that.
But that's what, you know, when you start out, you get these shots, you know, you're going to be, you know, you get to do this, you know, and you know, you just got to do it, you know, and so he did it. Yeah, and he's still working. So
he is.
Yes, indeed.
There you go.
Before you actually going to start talking about your appearance on Fetch, I know I'm kind of wondering about this too, but I know you know you only did for the shorts, but can you still do the voice of Apollo?
I probably can. It's just.
Oh my gosh!
I don't remember exactly what I did.
It's fine.
But I tried to be like a cute dog.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
All right.
Wow.
Awesome, John. Anyway,
thanks.
So I do want to briefly ask before we bring up Fetch, like Jakey said. What would you say is like the biggest challenge for you when it comes to puppeteering?
Yeah.
The biggest challenge is trying to perform like somebody else.
There you go.
Yeah.
Matt can agree on that.
It's not just, you know, do you sound like it? You have to do that, of course, but then you also have to have the mannerisms of the performer and just what that puppet, the timing of the puppet. So, I mean, there's like, for instance, we just did another Elmo talk show.
Yes.
Which is called a Not Too Late. Yeah.
Not Too Late show.
And Ryan will have me do it sometimes if you need to have two Elmos in a shot.
Right.
You know, and he'll correct me. You know, he'll say, don't do too many syllables, or he would bob the head a little more or whatever. But it's, you know, and I did that a lot with Kevin. He would Kevin the season when Kevin was directing an episode, he would have me perform Elmo in the scenes.
Oh wow!
Cameras and all the other characters and do the voice and everything, up to the point that we're about to shoot. So we do, you know, several rehearsals, and I would do everything that he was going to do, and then Kevin would step in and then do the scene.
Wow!
Like as the camera, he would get in. Awesome. But all the way up to that point, I was like his stand-in, you know. So I had to learn, you know, to do it very, you know, similarly. It didn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
But the things with Ryan, you know, he knew I did that, you know, for so many years. And so I'm there assisting, you know, doing Elmo's right hand. And, you know, and he said, well, in this one, just come in, you know, because it's a quick, when we do the costume quick changes, you know, you want to have it happen fast. And if you edit it together, it just looks edited, you know. You don't feel the timing of it. Yes. So, and he would throw the voice or whatever, and I'd come in, you know, and wiggle his tie and then leave out, you know. So, you know, something real simple like that, but it's the hardest thing to get that down so that, you know, people don't realize you've done it. And that's the, if nobody realizes you've done the voice of a character that's by someone else or another person that initiated it or created it, or the movements of it too.
Yeah.
You've done your job, you know, if nobody notices. So that's I always try to do that, but that's just really hard to do that. And Ryan does a great job, you know.
Ryan's amazing. Definitely get him on in the future.
He's amazing.
He's wonderful.
He is wonderful. And I know he was young too when he started on Sesame.
I remember him being there, you know. And well, he's there for many years and he was really young too. So
he's awesome. We definitely have to get him on.
Yeah, he knows everything about the Muppets. He is all the everything. We do you have this? Do you have that? We like compare notes on what memorabilia and things that we have. And it's awesome. To the point where you think that, well, he must be my age, but he's so much younger than me.
Much younger.
But he gets every reference, anything, everything, Muppets or just nostalgia stuff, things that I saw, he's it many times, but it's because he wanted to see it, not because he just saw it on TV when he was a kid. It was like he had to find it. Someone had to have that, and he had to get it, and then he had to watch it.
We'll definitely have Ryan on in the future. Is that one of your stories?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. And I know you also had your own puppet kind of puppet how-to books, what you mentioned earlier.
Right.
Puppet Mania and Puppet Planet. How'd those come about?
Yeah,
I just got a random email. Would you like to write a book? And it took several years for that to happen.
Story.
But I knew somebody at the American Art Clay Company, and they said if you could make some puppets using our materials, we can put it in a national magazine.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years went by, maybe even longer than that, where I said, well, let me see what I can come up with. And I said, okay, well, I'm finally going to do it. So back in 2000, I went ahead and made some puppets using it and had a photographer shoot the stuff. And then they put those photos in a magazine, which was, it was happened to be a magazine that the publishing company subscribed to. So they saw, and my puppet made it onto the front cover of the magazine. So they picked that up and went, hey, we need some puppets. Let's call this guy. So it was almost like a strategic thing happened, but it wasn't. It was just kind of really was a fluke that that timing happened, that they needed someone to make, puppets for the book. And they saw the magazine that for that month, even
they needed the book.
Yeah. So then they said, well, let's do this book. But they wanted me to do, it had to be like it was part of a collection of other books. And it was like a whole book set of creating different things, like crafts and things. And so it wasn't going to be my own book. It was just going to be, part of a series. And that's when 9/11 happened, and they shut the whole thing down. And so I thought I wasn't going to make the book. But then they called a year later and said, we decided to go ahead with several of the people that were going to be in this series. And we think that, your puppets are strong enough to be its own book. So it was a total surprise again.
Wow.
That they called me back after all that tragedy that had happened and the world gone crazy, once they got back to doing things that they wanted to do my book above some of the other topics, So I was just really lucky. I mean, it was not something that it was something I'd thought about doing, and I had kind of prepared a little bit. And that's what I always tell people about puppetry is or anything you want to do. To me, if you want to have success, success happens when preparation meets opportunity. So I had the idea that I might make a book, so I had all this stuff. And I realized that from reading stuff about Jim Henson, that he kind of did that too.
Yeah.
He had all these ideas for movies and TV shows and characters and stuff. He would never stop creating. Yeah. It wasn't necessarily doing this stuff yet, I heard like maybe Labyrinth or Dark Crystal or something. It was just, they were stories that they would just, he and Jerry Jewell and Jane Henson would work on the weekends or something. And in hopes that one day, if they ever made it, they'd get to do it.
Yeah. That's awesome. I know Matt can definitely use that. Matt is actually building of his first live hand puppet, Parsley.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. I want to go back to something before we get to this fetch question, because I forgot Jack's Big Music Show question, and it's a question I'm kind of curious about. Are the puppets from Jack's Big Music Show still around?
I I wouldn't know. I imagine so, but I haven't asked David about it. They probably are. They were built in such a way that I think I don't remember that they were built out of materials that would deteriorate fast. So I think they might be.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh.
We'll see.
And then one more thing I wanted to briefly talk about, since we were talking about the puppet how-to books. I also remember you did the puppetry how-to videos on Activity TV.
Right.
Yes.
That was really cool. I got to do stories that I wrote and music that I wrote, and someday I'd like to revisit that, because I think my deal was at the time that they owned the footage, but I owned everything else.
Yeah.
Part of it. So any of the assets, so they call them assets, but any of the puppet projects or the music or anything, I could redo it. I could reshoot it myself for another venue. I don't know what, but whether I just wanted to start my own YouTube channel that I could do those on. But I don't think they exist anywhere anymore. I don't think
archive.org.
Yeah, they're probably on. They're probably out somewhere.
Maybe.
Probably on YouTube or something.
But I hope to do that again sometime soon.
Yeah, Matt can definitely, like I said, Matt can definitely use it. He's building his first puppet. He's in the process of it.
All right, so now it's time for the question that I know Jake's been definitely.
Did I ask it?
Or Wyatt? Yeah.
So we had Jim Carpenter on, who was amazing. You actually worked with him. What was it like being on the Fetch episode, Ruff's Big Break? And here's the additional question: do you still have the Bernie the Pig puppet?
Oh boy.
I think I do. I do have that puppet. Not with me right now, but I do.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I have the turtle, the Dr. Turtle, and I forget what else was in there.
Yeah.
But it was that was really fun, because we went to a real children's hospital in Boston.
Which is where Chris is located.
I brought my puppet stage with me. That was promoting my books and stuff with, and doing little shows around the country, and so just the process of it was neat, because it was all just happening. They had cameras around, and we were, it was a reality show basically.
It is.
Shooting it, so
it really is.
That's awesome.
And things would really happen, and they would really do, really did the show, so I was honored to get to be a part of it.
That's awesome. Yeah, Fetch is such a wonderful show.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I never met Fetch, other than the puppet Fetch that we made, which was fun. That we made the puppet Fetch. Rough. We made rough.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
I wonder if that puppet's still around.
It's not Fetch is not a thing. It's a character. So
I wonder if that puppet's still around.
I doubt. Well, he could be. It might be in someone's desk somewhere.
Yeah. We should have asked Jim Conroy. We'll have that on now.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows? Yeah, but talking with Jim, that was very fun, because he's done.
Very fun.
He's awesome.
Before we get to the other questions, would you come back in the future? Because I have plans. Maybe having any Animal Jam reunion with you, Wesley, and Ricky Boyd.
Even there.
Yeah, if I knew what you wanted to do, talk about, I could go back into some, get some stories and things. I'd do that.
That's awesome.
Very awesome.
I have most of the call sheets from about everything I worked on, so I could go back to the day and know what day it was,
awesome.
and who worked on it, and what we were shooting that day.
That's awesome. And I also saw on your website that you also worked on a show that all the four of us are huge fans of, Bear in the Big Blue House.
Yes. Yeah.
I only worked a couple of days on that, but it was fun. We were doing the second season of Wubbulous World of Dr. Seuss, so
that's why
it was busy. And then once all those characters got locked in by the other performers, there was
doing for that show.
Yeah, for that show, there's no other spot to do unless we just needed extra performers. So that's That and also Book of Pooh was the other one that was like.
Oh wow!
Yes, which I actually watched a whole series on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
that show.
Great series.
Jakey has
asked to audition for that, and I didn't do that. Lazy Town was another one. They said,
"Oh wow,
Lazy Town," and like, I was like, "Where are you?
Oh boy,
to go where to shoot this?" I'm like, I don't know.
that was done all the way in Iceland.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy, you know what Jake just did? He just went up and got the Book of Pooh DVD for you.
It's like with the Muppets and Sesame Street. You film in either like L.A. or New York or one of those places. But Lazy Town's all the way in another country.
I know what mine is. Speaking of puppets,
and I didn't have the job. It was just, would you like to audition for it? So an invitation.
Right.
And
you guys keep going
because there's like you and all the like hundreds of people that probably audition for Lazy Town. So
I don't know what the process was, but another one is Big World.
Yes, that's awesome.
But I did
big fan of that show
for 5 weeks on the second season that we were.
Oh wow!
I filled in for one of the performers, so you wouldn't even know I was doing a character, but.
Okay.
I was just filling in.
I actually have lots of DVDs of that show.
Yes, you do.
We got some.
Do you remember at all who you got to perform on Bear?
What's that?
Do you remember at all who you got to perform on Bear?
No, I don't. I mean, it might have been an Uncle Mouse or something in the background. It was just a group scene, whatever I was doing. It was nothing big and important. Just helping out.
The great thing about Bear was it was like a mixture of everything. It was a mixture of like calm and soothing. It was a mixture of comedy in a way. Bear was such a perfect show, and I know several people from the show are kind of fighting to get it on Disney Plus eventually.
Yeah,
yeah.
You kind of get once you start performing on television shows and movies and things, if you've got a character, of course you're going to do that, and you kind of get into a track almost like, well, I'm going to be following this group of people mainly for most of my work, and then maybe you get to do a little of this and a little of that, so you not necessarily a main character on this show, but I'm available this day, so I could come and help, and they ask obviously. But, for years, that's what I did. I just was kind of like John Kennedy, puppeteer for hire, anything and everything.
What about for the Book of Pooh? Do you know? Do you remember if you performed?
I think he mentioned that he auditioned for it, but didn't.
Well, no, I didn't end up auditioning for it, but they just said, "Would you like to?" And I knew I couldn't do it because of another show.
The DVD up, Jake. He wasn't on it.
It was like, well, I could audition, but I think
I'll put the DVD up. He wasn't on
it. Put the DVD back, Jake. We don't need it.
That's fine. But so do you have any advice you'd like to give to anyone who wants to get into puppetry?
Here we go again, Matt.
Matt.
Let me tell you, I've had to answer this 5 times in the last 8 episodes.
Matt, sit down. Matt, calm down. Matt, we'll give you a pass. You can just
here. I'll just hide your head. You're not needed.
Matt, hold on. Matt, here's the thing. You can come out, Pod. You don't have to answer.
It's okay.
No,
it's okay.
No.
Anyway.
Yeah. How about you have that? You have that with the picture again. You just have Matt up there. What advice would you give to someone who wants to, become a puppeteer?
Well, I'd say watch the puppet shows that you really love and try to emulate them by putting a camera and a monitor up. I mean, that's the hardest thing to get beyond. It
is.
So
I can
put
see
that up and then just lip sync the stuff and have as much fun as you can and start your own little video, of sort of compilation of your favorite stuff, and play it for people. And if you're lucky enough to get to audition for something, you'll have a background, a repertoire. You won't have to quick think, oh, I don't know what song I would do, or I don't have a character voice, or I didn't work on the monitor stuff, but I'll be able to do it. I'm quick, I'll pick it up. It's like you have to be really good, and you have to be able to just jump in and do it and be excited about it. And that was one thing I learned early on too, is that if it was Kevin Clash told me that Richard Hunt, if there was anything in a shot that needed to be done, he was the first one to say, I'll do it. So you got to be willing to try and do anything. So absolutely. And he'd be on me about it, because like on Dinosaurs, Ethel had this wheelchair, and it had like a radio control. Then you're moving the wheelchair around, and so Kevin like, hey, you want to do the wheelchair? And I was like, I don't think so. He's like, what? You gotta want to do this. You want to do this. Richard would have done it. He would have done it. And so I like, okay, yes. And I run over the side of the wall. Like, okay. Yeah.
There you go.
But awesome. Just jump in and say, I'll do it, and be excited about it.
Yeah.
And not talk too much either. That's the other thing. I mean, I did that when I first got in, because I'm here, I'm working with Dave Goles. I just want to sit here and sing the songs of all the stuff I know that he did, and ask him all these questions about everything he worked on. And when you were Rugby Tiger, what was that like? And they don't want to talk about any of that stuff. That was how long ago? Do I have to work with this guy? Kind of be cool and just be like, hey, yeah, I'm here. I'm a puppeteer too,
Yeah, there you go.
You're not like, please tell me what it was like to be on the Muppet Movie. What was it like? Like, they don't want to talk about it. And it's sort of, I don't mind talking about stuff, but it's sort of, that's how it is. When you're doing it, you jump in and you do a shot and you're done and you're moving on to the next thing.
Next one, yeah.
It's just, can't even remember what you did. I don't remember if I did the third penguin on the left, but maybe for a week or so I would have remembered that. But or was I a butterfly in that scene? I don't know if I did that
exactly.
Or not. I probably could figure it out if I watched it a few times. But.
Right.
My goodness. What would you like to say to your fans of your work?
Thanks for watching.
Everybody, don't click off the video yet. Keep watching.
Yeah,
that's right. Just keep watching.
Yes.
There you go.
I'm amazed that people even know that I did anything. So I'm really honored that you wanted me to even talk about this stuff. But
you're very welcome.
Welcome.
Pleasure.
It's kind of crazy because I believe I saw you on a friend of ours. We mentioned him earlier, Grant Pachocos, who's a good friend of Matt's.
Oh yeah, Grant Pachoco. Yes, good.
Yeah, Grant. I love Grant. Yeah, love Grant. Watch Grant perform. He would do these live songs. He would travel, and I would go and see him. And I don't think he'd even done any puppetry at that point.
Yeah, he does toilet paper.
Toilet paper. Oh my gosh, he's amazing.
Yeah.
So there are several performers like that I just really liked them. I thought they were funny and they wanted to get into puppetry, and they kind of made their way in, and Matt Vogel, when he first started, he came in to be an understudy for Big Bird, and nobody really knew him. He'd auditioned there and gotten in, and
now he's Kermit.
And like the first thing I did was,
Big
we're doing Dance Monsters together, and I went down under the stage and tied his shoelaces together.
And now he's gone all the way from being an understudy performer to being like the official Big Bird and the Count and Kermit,
Mr. Johnson
and Floyd and all. Yeah, all
I
those
remember stuff he's come in and just do butterflies, or assist Baby Bear, or what. He was just an extra performer, for so long, but he had that great job of being understudy for Big Bird, so he got a lot of opportunities. He had a band. He writes music, and he has albums out there, and he has a band called the Mighty Weaklings,
Yes, that's right.
He asked me to be in the band because I taught him how to play bass. I gave him a chart on how to play bass guitar because I played in jazz band in high school.
Oh wow!
That's awesome.
Yeah, so he picked up on that and now does Floyd, who plays bass. So that's cool.
That's true. Yes,
that's awesome.
And he has his own podcast called Below the Frame.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Which is a great podcast he's done.
I was a big fan of all his stuff. He directed a live, like a stage show at one point. It was like in a black box stage in New York, and I remember learning that he had done that and thought that was really cool. I mean, this is before he was doing a lot of stuff, and so I went to see his show with him, and because he directed it, he was watching the show, so I watched with him the show that he directed, and now he's a director on commercials and Sesame Street and
the voice of Kermit.
The voice of Kermit, of course.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You know, that's another thing. You never know who's gonna, blossom and who's gonna be the next whoever. So
For example, like you, Mark.
Everybody.
For example, like you, Matt. Next thing you know, you're working at Sesame.
That's right.
I hope so.
I'll be calling you saying, "Hey, are there auditions coming up?"
Dude, Matt will pass out when he gets that call.
Oh my gosh!
And
you'll be in tears.
And on the subject of Sesame, since this was recent, do you have a memory of working with, specific memory of working with Emilio Delgado?
Oh, right. Yeah. He was the Fix-It shop, and I remember one of the first puppets that I got to do, like the voice of. It was like a businessman that shows up with a broken radio that he was going to fix, and I remember being really scared to do it because I hadn't been on there for but a few months, and Emilio is just the nicest guy, and he always has been. I'm really sad that he passed away.
Present peace.
We are.
He just was. Every time I'd see him, he'd say, "Hey, John!" He was just excited to see me, and I'll miss that.
Stephanie said the same thing. He was one of the nicest people.
Yeah, he'll be always remembered in the Sesame Street franchise.
Martin Robinson would probably say the same.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's
right.
Just always friendly, always the nicest guy, and
lots of other Sesame Street people too.
Yes. Yes. So if people want to contact you, where can people find you?
You mean like online or
social media?
Yeah, online or social media.
I don't have too much on social media right now.
It's fun. You have your website. We'll put
building puppets, and the funny thing is, it doesn't help me to have social media because I can't talk about the things I'm working on.
That's true. Yes, that's true.
All this, I can't take photos on set. I can't, and so I just got discouraged by it, and I just I don't need anything anymore. I'm just gonna work and do what I do. So, I have my website puppetkit.com, but I haven't sold any puppet kits on there for 20 years or something. It's been a long time, and so it really I keep up with it. So I feel bad about it because I want to help promote puppetry and do things, and for a while I was doing music videos with my band, Johnny K Band.
I
haven't done any more recently, and I haven't written any music, or I really haven't been doing. Once we finished the end of the year, we finished Helpsters. I haven't really done anything then, so I'm just kind of hanging out, waiting to see what's gonna go next.
I know definitely things are starting to open back up too, so there's probably going to be more opportunities out there.
People who's watching or listening, you can see his
check all those links in the description below,
so you can check it out. And
and,
I feel like I should ask this because I haven't asked this in a bit. I feel like so the podcast is called Jake's Up Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Of course, which is amazing. When you think of nostalgia, what do you think of, or what defines nostalgia for you?
Nostalgia. Oh, is it my question?
Yeah.
Nostalgia.
You're the guest.
For me, it's what what I remember as a kid, you know.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Nostalgic, you know, or it could be maybe stuff that happened before I was born that I saw when I was a kid, you know. That
right, yeah.
That I remember, you know, and I'm like, what is that show? And I remember Eric Jacobson and I will go on like this nostalgic, you know, tour of all the cartoons that we used to watch as a kid, you know. And
yes.
go, oh, that's this one. Oh, that's Hong Kong Phooey, and you know, that's you know, we try to. We're always just talking about, you know, old things that inspired us. So I guess the nostalgia is really what sparked me to do what I do
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we actually wrap up, you know, because I'm not sure we haven't even talked about it at all. You know, since you mentioned like your band, how did it, you know, got that started, and what, you know, we do now for that?
Well, I tell you, there's another thing that I would say for puppeteers is to go outside of the box. So even outside of what you think puppetry is, you know.
Oh yeah.
There's such a thing as just burning out on it and just only doing puppets and only do the, you know. I get a lot of work as a puppeteer because I'm a musician and because I know, you know, musical timing or could play a guitar or a banjo, you know, and make it look like that. So I spent a lot of time with music and had music scholarships to go to college that I didn't end up taking, but I just love music so much. And I think if you step outside of the box and just do something every once in a while to draw attention to yourself, it highlights you and gives you more personality as a performer outside of puppets, you know. So if you can do something like, well, I can do, you know, I'm a dancer, or, you know, or I sing with a group, or you know, people are interested.
Blah blah blah.
And if you show up with a bunch of puppeteers and you say, hey, I watched this show, you know, puppet show, they're all going to say, okay, so what? But if you sang in a choir for this live show, or you're in a, I don't know what, like if you play in a band or something, people get behind that, you know, and and it's a really cool thing. So, you know, I remember Matt Vogel having his band, and I've been in bands, you know, all my life, different bands. So I just thought, well, I'll create a band and I'll do some kids' music and I'll put it out, and that'll be another thing.
See what we're going to do from there.
And sometimes you just have to sort of put a portfolio together of what you've done, and I've gotten work as a puppeteer because of that. Like I just take everything I've done for the last, you know, 2 years. Here's what I've most recently done. And I put that in a folder, and I put that, you know, I could write an email with a link to a YouTube video or something you create with all the stuff that you've done. It just makes you relevant. It just gives you a talking point, and then you could call up people and say, hey, this is what I've been doing, you know. It just promotes yourself a little more, you know. And the music awesome. And the band, that can be part of it, you know. And I can use those songs for puppet shows now. So
for sure.
I speak for all of us here when I say this. Thank you so much. It's been a dream come true.
Thank you so much for you.
You're welcome.
For me too.
We'll definitely have you back on, Rick.
Yes.
I want to hear more Jim stories. I want to hear
if there's something you want to know, you know, specifically, that'd be great, because then I could go back through and look and remember stuff that write that stuff down, so I can be ready for it, you know.
That's awesome. Definitely.
A big wide span of years. I'm trying to remember names and places and things. And like, oh, I forgot what that was. Maybe I shouldn't talk about it. I can't think of the name. But if I had it in front of me specifically for an era of time or a specific show, I could talk about the things that happened on that show with these certain people.
Maybe find Bernie and bring him out next time.
Right, I'll bring Bernie out. Right?
Bernie,
you did
so much.
No, thank you so much for being on. And
thank you. You are worth it, which is something amazing. It means you can do anything.
Thanks.
Yes, and thank you so much for what
do it. You guys can do it too. So just
thank you so much.
Matt here. Matt's been doing it for 2 years now. Coming up.
It's really good.
Yeah. Even thank you. Even I've inspired.
Check out Bingel Live if you want to see more.
Yeah,
okay. On top of Bingel on Instagram.
Definitely sending some of our work.
He's on archive.org as well.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
And
thank you.
Yeah. Yes, thank you so much. This was
thank you so much.
And thanks to all our viewers and our listeners for
you are worth it.
Great
Stay nostalgic.
Yeah.
Nostalgia Live. We'll see you next episode. Goodbye.
So John, thank you so much for the work you've done, being a part of our childhood. You did a great job what you've done, and keep up. And can't wait. What's the next projects you're going to be doing?
Yeah.
So
yes.
Keep up what you're doing, John.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for watching all that stuff I've done.
And, so from all of us and from John,
you're worth it.
Thank you all, and stay nostalgic. Bye, everyone.
And you're worth it.
Bye.
Bye for now. Bye.
You're worth it.
See you next time on another episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Be sure to follow us on social media and stream us wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Bye bye.